Good morning, students. We are discussing about the third chapter of our chemistry, that is atoms and molecules. In the previous description of these chapter, we have already discussed what actually the atom is, who propounded the different theories for atom. Then we have discussed about different kind of atoms and different theories propounded by various scientists and the symbols and notifications given by them, and the structure and the size of the atom. Now we have our next discussion, that is about symbols of the elements. I have already told you that symbols of element is the identity to represent any element. So we have different symbols for different type of atom, and they have also different origin, that is some may be taken from Latin language, some may be taken from Greek, or other may be taken from German. So we have a list of symbols of different element. So first I am writing element, then here it origin, and in the third category we have the symbol of that element. So here are the three categories. Firstly, we will discuss about the type of the element, second is their origin, and third is the symbolic representation of an element. So in this category we have different elements over here. First element we have in this series is oxygen. Oxygen is taken from a origin that is Latin, and its name is oxygenum, and the symbol we represent for oxygen is O. Second element we have in this category is hydrogen. It is again taken from the Latin language. Its Latin name is hydrogenium, and the symbol we will use for hydrogen will be H. In the third category we have the element nitrogen. Nitrogen is again taken from the Latin language. Its Latin name is nitrogenium, and the symbol for this we have is N. The fourth number of the element we have in this series is potassium. Potassium is taken from a Latin word that is kalium, and the symbol for potassium will be K. Now again I am writing some of the elements over here. Again we have element, their origin, and again we have in the third category their symbolic representation. So fifth element we have is calcium. Calcium has a origin of Greek. It is taken from a word calx, and the symbol for this element will be Ca. Now we have different more elements in this category. After we have different metals such as gold. Gold is taken from the word aurum. It is again a Latin word, and the symbol for gold we have is Au. We have next element in this category, that is mercury. Mercury is taken from a word hydrargyrum. Hydrargyrum is again Greek word, and the symbol for mercury will be Hg. Now we have next element, that is antimony. Antimony is basically taken from a word strontium. It is again a Latin word, and the symbol for the element will be the first letter of their origin name, and the second letter will be in small letter. For we have symbol for antimony will be SB. In the next category we have copper. The word copper has been taken from language Latin and its name is cuprum, and the symbol for the copper will be Cu. So here are the different elements to recognize their origin or their symbolic representation. In this category we have many more symbols. So some of the symbols are here for you. Now I am going to tell you about what are the basic characteristics of the symbol, why we describe these symbols. In our IUPAC, what actually the IUPAC is? IUPAC means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. IUPAC means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So IUPAC have been adopted these symbols as the basic elements symbol, and these symbols are actually used worldwide. So these symbols have given a characteristics by the IUPAC. So we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the symbol. Now what are the actual characteristics of the symbol? Why we needed to draw a symbol of an element to represent them? Now what are the actual characteristics of the symbol of the element? Characteristics of symbol of elements. So why we need to symbolize any element? Here I am writing about the characteristics of the symbol of element. First characteristic of symbol of element is that if we write the symbol of an element, we are going to know about the name of that element. So first characteristic we have, it will give name of element. Second, it will represent the number of atom present in an element. So second characteristic we have, it will represent number of atoms in element. Firstly, the symbol will give the name of the element. Second, the symbol will tell you how many atoms are present in that element. Suppose I am writing here N2. So from N2, it become easy to understand. Its name is nitrogen and it contain 2 atoms of nitrogen combined together by some bounded force. So number of atoms will be 2. Third characteristics of the symbol of the element is that symbol of element represent 1 mole of a substance. Symbol of element represent 1 mole of substance What actually the 1 mole of a substance is, we will learn this in the further classes after discussing about mole concept. But now here I am telling you about what actually 1 mole of substance is. 1 mole of the substance is equal to 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23 atoms. So it will tell you that one atom of hydrogen will have 1 mole of hydrogen will have 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23 atoms. So it is the identification of 1 mole of a substance. Now symbol of elements will tell you the name, symbol of elements will tell you about the atoms, and the symbol of the elements actually tell us about the 1 mole of a substance, and it also tell us about the atomic mass of an element. So here are the characteristics of the symbol of the elements. Now we will discuss about our next term, that is called molecule. Now we are discussing about our next term, that is molecules. What actually the molecules are? So I am just giving you the example. If I consider this green chalk is, I am supposing, the element. If other green chalk will combine with it, it means they are combining in the same type of element. It means green chalk is combining with the green chalk. It means the combining capacity of two elements to form a particular type of compound, and they are attracted by a strong force of attraction. So this is termed as molecule. If I consider them individual, these are atoms, and if I combine them by some interactive force, these are termed as a molecule. So what actually the molecules is? Molecules are a chemically active compound formed by two or more atoms and joined by some attractive force. It means molecules are the chemically active or the neutral group of atoms that is formed by combining two or more atoms in a definite proportion or definite mass. Here I am writing an example for molecule to show what actually the molecules are. Suppose we have hydrogen and this is oxygen. For hydrogen, we have the symbol H. For hydrogen, we have symbol H, and for oxygen, we have symbol O. Suppose we are taking the hydrogen in a proportion of 2 atoms and it is going to combine with oxygen. So H2 plus O will give us H2O, and this is termed as a water molecule. It means two different type of atoms combine with each other to form a particular set of any compound, and they are bound by some sort of attractive force between them. So it is termed as molecules. So we have different categories of molecule depending upon their number of atoms. So here we have two categories of molecule, that is molecule of an element and molecule of a compound. Now I am writing and showing you what actually the molecule of elements are and what actually the molecule of compounds are. In the category of molecule, we have two types. Molecule of element and molecule of compound. Here are two categories. First is molecule of element and second is molecule of compound. So what actually the molecule of element is? Molecule of element is the combination of two or more atoms that are present in the same characteristics. It means if hydrogen is going to combine with hydrogen, we have same kind of atom and we will term it as a molecule of an element. Now we have the second category, molecule of the compound. Compounds are formed by the mixture of two or more atoms, but they may be different. It may be one of hydrogen and it may be other of oxygen. So they have the different combining capacity. So these are termed as the molecules of compound. So first category we have molecules of element. First category we have molecule of element. Molecule of the element is defined as a chemical combination of same type of atoms. I am repeating it again. It is constitution of same type of atoms. This is the point to remember over here. It means element will constitute the same type of atom. So for molecule of element, we have example in this category. Suppose I am saying you H2. It means H2 is combined by the formation of two H and H molecules and two H and H atoms. One H atom and other H atom. This is atom of hydrogen. This is again atom of hydrogen, and these are the same kind of H atoms. These are same kind of H atoms. So we may say that these are the molecules of element. We have different type of elements over here like N2, O2, etc. It means they have the atoms of same type. So it is considered in the category of molecule of elements. Now we have our second category, that is molecules of compounds. Molecules of compounds. So molecules of element are the same type of atoms and the molecules of the compound will be the different kind of atom, that is one from the one group and other one from the second group. It means a chemical combination of different type of atoms. So here the word to remember is it will constitute a different type of atom. So we have example for this. Suppose sulfur is burned in presence of oxygen. What we are going to get here is SO2. Here we have sulfur, here we have oxygen, and what we are getting here is sulfur dioxide. It means we have one type of atom of sulfur and two different atoms of same type, that is of oxygen. It means two different atoms combined together to give a particular product. that is bound by some interactive or some attractive force between them. So this is considered in the molecules of compound category. In this category we have many more examples like carbon dioxide. It is basically the combination of carbon and oxygen. We have calcium oxide. It is the combination of calcium and oxygen. CaO is basically termed as lime that we used for whitewashing the walls of our house. So these are the categories of molecule, of element and compound. Now the question arises, how do actually the atoms exist? So in our next category we are going to discuss about how actually the atoms are going to exist. If someone wants to note down, please note down it. So now the question here is, how do atoms exist? So here the question is, how do atoms exist? We have certain type of atoms in our periodic table that may exist in the free state, and they are called as noble gases or inactive metals. Sometimes we also call them as inert elements because they are non-reactive at a room temperature. So first point we have is, atoms of noble gases exist in free state. So how actually the atoms exist in our nature? Atoms of noble gases always exist in free state. So what actually the noble gases are? Noble gases are those gases which have already attained their electronic configuration. It means their octet is complete, and in their outermost shell there are already 8 electrons, so they do not have a need to gain or lose electron. Noble gases are those gases which have octet in complete form, and second, which have acquired stable electronic configuration. Stable electronic configuration. Octet means they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Octet here means they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So atoms of the noble gas can only exist in the free state because at the room temperature they are non-reactive. But what about the elements or atoms of other element? Suppose we have hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen in this category. They cannot exist in the free state in nature because they are very reactive. So they are reactive and they get combined with each other to form a molecules. In noble gases we have certain examples. like helium, its symbol is He. Neon, Ne. Krypton, Kr. Xenon, radon. So here are some of the noble gases. It means they can exist in the free state in the nature. Now what about the atoms of other elements? They are very reactive at room temperature, so they cannot exist in the free state. Atoms of other elements cannot exist in free state. So here it is all about how do actually the atoms exist. Now in the series of atoms and molecules, we are on the next topic, that is called atomicity. So now I am going to tell you about what basically the atomicity is. Our next heading is atomicity. Atomicity basically refers to the number of atoms that are combined with other element in the forming the any compound. Atomicity is the counting of number of atoms. So what actually the atomicity is? Number of atoms combined to form molecule. So it is actually the number of atoms present in any type of elements. So what are the actual examples to showing the atomicity of the element? We have example like we have hydrogen. We actually write hydrogen as H2. It means it is combined with two types of atoms of hydrogen. So the atomicity of hydrogen will be 2. Atomicity of hydrogen will be 2. Suppose we have our next element, that is nitrogen. We again write nitrogen as N2. It means again the atomicity of nitrogen will be 2. If we are going to talk about certain other elements, what will be the combining capacity of sulfur and phosphorus? Their combining capacity or their atomicity will be 4 and 2 respectively. For phosphorus we have 4 and for the sulfur we have 2. So this is the atomicity. It means actually how many atoms are present in that compound or that molecule. Now we are on the next category of our discussion, that is we are going to talk about what is valency. Now our next topic is about what is valency. So the term valency here refers to the combining capacity of any atom. It means to attain the stable electronic configuration, we have to lose some electrons and we have to gain some electrons to form a stable compound. So actually the valency is the combining capacity of an element, that how many atoms or electrons it will acquire to form the stable electronic configuration. It means if element is formed, if any element is formed, it will be formed by gaining or losing an electron. It may be formed by gaining an electron or losing an electron. So, element is formed by gaining an electron or losing an electron. All the atoms except noble gases will need to gain or lose electron to form a stable compound. Noble gases do not need this because I already told you that they have the stable electronic configuration. It means they have the 8 number of electrons in their outermost shell. So, valency is actually the how many atoms or how many electrons it will gain to form any stable compound. So, what actually the valency is? It is the combining capacity of an element. Combining capacity of an element or an atom. All the atoms, all the metals have certain valency except the noble gases. Noble gases do not have to gain or lose any electron because they have already their stable electronic configuration. It means they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Now, we will discuss more about the valency of the different elements over here. It means it is the combining capacity of an element, and valency is actually, we may say, number of valence electrons. Number of valence electrons will be called as a valency. So, we will determine valency by this simple formula, or we may say that valency is something, it means 8 minus number of electrons in outermost shell. So, it is the formula for calculating the valency of a substance. Now, for easy understanding of valency, I am giving you a example over here. Suppose we have nitrogen. We know that atomic number for nitrogen from periodic table will be 7. It means it will consist the 7 constituent particle of the atom. So, if I am going to write about the electronic configuration of nitrogen, it will be, first I have 2 atoms in the S shell, and the second I have 5 electrons in the outermost shell. It means the electronic configuration of nitrogen will be going to 2 and 5. Its duplet is already complete, but for completing the octet in the outermost shell, we need 8 electrons in this. So, if I talk about valency, it means valency can be calculated as 8, it is needed to complete the octet, 5 electrons in its outermost shell. So, 8 minus 3, I will get here 3. So, the valency for nitrogen will be 3. It means it need 3 electrons to complete its octet. So, valency is actually the combining capacity of any element or group of atoms. Now, I am going to tell you about the valency of different elements we have in our periodic table. So, now we are going to discuss about the different valencies of different elements. It means what number of atoms they are needed to form their stable electronic configuration. So, here we have the valency for different elements. Now we have valency of different elements. So in the valency we have certain type of elements, that is metals and non-metals, both will be categorized in the category of different elements. So first I am discussing about metals and their respective valencies. Then we will going to discuss about non-metal and their respective valency. So in this category, firstly we have sodium. For the sodium we have valency of 1. Second is potassium. Again we will write it as K plus 1. Third element we have silver. For silver we have formula or symbol Ag. For potassium we have symbol K. For sodium we have symbol Na. So again for the silver the valency is 1. Now we will discuss about copper. For the copper we have the symbol Cu, and for copper there are the two valencies exhibit over here. One is 1 and other is 2. It means copper may exist in the two variable valency states. Fifth term we have iron. Symbol for iron we have will be Fe. Again iron will exhibit the two states, that is Fe2 and Fe3. Now in the next category we have more examples. Next is gold. For the gold we have the symbol Au. Au again exhibit in the two states, that is 2, 3. Now we have one more example, that is tin. Formula for tin will be Sn, that is stannum, that will exhibit in the two states, that is 2 and 4. So here is a valency of certain metals. Now we will going to discuss about the valency of certain non-metals. In the category of non-metals, firstly we have fluorine, second is chlorine, next is iodine, then we have phosphorus, silicon and carbon. Now we will going to discuss about the valency of different non-metals. For fluorine we have symbol F, for chlorine we have symbol Cl, for iodine we have a symbol I, for phosphorus we have a symbol P, for silicon we have a symbol Si, and for carbon we have a symbol C. Now for fluorine the valency will be going to 1, for chlorine it will again 1, for iodine it is again 1, for phosphorus we have the two valencies, that is 3 and 5, for silicon and carbon we have again valencies 4 and 4, it means their combining capacity will be going to 4. So from this table we have observed that certain elements will acquire more than one valency state. So I am highlighting these here. See, copper here is having two valencies, iron here is having two valencies, gold and tin again is having two valencies, and it means 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 2, 4. These are the two valency states. Again in the category of non-metals we have phosphorus over here, and the phosphorus will exhibit two states, that is 3 and 5. Again we have two valencies for this state. So here we are going to discuss about our new term that is called variable valency. What actually the variable valency is? Variable valency is the valency that is the compound exhibit more than two valencies. So here we are on our next term, that is variable valency. Variable valency mean an atom or electron will going to vary its valency. So variable valency is that atom, or we may say that element, exhibit more than one valency. If an atom or element is having more than one valency, we will term it as a variable valency. So I am giving you example for easy understanding of variable valency. Suppose we have an example of copper over here. We already discussed that copper is exhibiting in the two states, that is 1 and 2. So we have an example of copper for Cu plus 1 and Cu plus 2. So it is Cu plus 1 will form the compound of cuprous, and Cu plus 2 is going to form the compounds of cupric. So here it is all about the variable valency of an state. So if an atom or element exhibit more than one valency, it is termed as a variable valency. So in our today's discussion, I am telling you in short what we have discussed is, we have discussed about the symbols of the elements, their characteristics, about their valency, variable valency, and how do atom exist in nature. Now in our next session or next discussion, we are going to discuss about our more terms, that what actually the ions are, what will be the cation, anion and radicals are. This lecture is over for today. Thank you so much and have a nice day.